Hello, welcome to this new episode of the Alex Show. Today is episode 366 from October the 21st of year 2024. Today is a Monday. And today's show is about a topic that is right now in the news, on Netflix, on everyone's mind, I think. It's an old story. It started in 1989. And I first heard about it around 1993, 94. The Menendez brothers, what really happened is today's show. And as always, I'm not privy to any secrets. I don't have any new information for you. What I have is my feelings, my intuition, my own opinion on what happened. And I'm going to tie today's show to Friday's show. And this is very important. This is going to be Monsters Week. I'm sorry, I laugh, but because there's a similar case that a lot of people, especially here in America, in the US, Mexico, Latin America, even Europe, don't know about. It's like the Menendez Italian case, and it's the case of Pietro Maso. And I'm not going to spend on this show, on today's show, a lot speaking about Pietro, but Pietro killed his parents with the help of friends for the money, for the inheritance, and he has confessed about it. And I think there's a lot of things very similar with this case, and I'm going to try to do the effort of showing why I believe demonic possession had something to do with the Menendez brothers and with Pietro Maso. The same kind of behavior of the brothers is the same kind of behavior and situation of Pietro Maso, which, by the way, was not as wealthy, economically or financially wealthy as the Menendez brothers. He was what is called medium high class in Italy, but no way, he was not. There's a difference of that. But he lived a life, especially his behaviors and attitudes were very similar to the Menendez brothers, particularly after the crime. For the 7 months they were free. The crime happened in August 1989, and they were apprehended, first Lyle and then Eric, after he voluntarily returned to the US from Israel, I believe, on a tennis tournament. But he was advised to return and give himself up in March 1990. So they were, for 7 months, they were free. And I know about the abuse story, okay? I'm not minimizing it. I'm not even saying it didn't happen. There's a lot of evidence that Jose Menendez, I think it was Jose, I'm sorry if I this out of memory. I think he's Jose, the father, abused these two gentlemen, these two boys, when they were young, and continued the abuse up until at the moment of the killing. What I'm trying to do here is I'm gonna separate that. That's awful on its own. That's a crime on its own. That's something to do something to any child like that. And on top of that, your own sons is horrible. So yes, in that sense, if that's true, because honestly, there's only evidence, but there's one thing that is fact and one thing that we suspect. The one that is fact is that Eric and Lyle killed their parents. They are confessed, and all the evidence points to that. They have confessed it. It's something that is a fact. The suspected or the alleged abuse, there's a lot of evidence pointing to that. But as someone said on a video I watched, we really will need for Jose and the mother, for the father and the mother, to be alive and confess to it, or some hard evidence about it. But let's assume it's true. Let's assume it's true that I'm not going to question that. Let's assume that the abuse happened. So certainly the father is a monster on its own, and the mother. Let's assume the story went like it went, because if something, I'm more of a believer that Jose Menendez abused his own children. I'm not sure if the mother was also a victim here, and she was only a drunk and a drug addict, which I'm not sure that's a crime on its own. So horrible, okay? She was trying to not understand what was going on, or she was detached from reality. Were they bad parents? I don't know. Apparently, yes. And that's bad on its own. But what happened on the night of the murders and what happened afterwards is what I want to focus here. Again, I'm trying to bring you different angles of stories. And again, related to my own show, which I do. Yes, UFOs, I do spirituality, I do near-death experiences, I do many things, but I also concentrate on the occult and the powers of demonic possession because they are real, and I want to share those stories or share those opinions so we're aware that happens, okay, and how it possibly happened for Eric and Lyle. And this is tied to Friday's episode, which is going to be about Pietro Maso, a similar story in Italy, that with the help of friends, he killed his parents for the inheritance, and he's confessed to that. There is no abuse story there. There's no abuse angle. He was apparently treated very well. The parents were very religious people. I know that doesn't make you good or bad, but apparently they treated Pietro with all the opportunities, with all the kindness possible. They tried to be good parents. So there's no angle there, okay? The angle is here, and I'm not going to focus on the abuse, because even if it's like Lyle and Eric have portrayed the father and the mother, that doesn't justify them killing them and killing them in the way they intended, okay? That rage, that evilness on that night has to be demonic possession, even if it's temporary. I think these demons come in and out, and that's the way they operate, okay? Also, because it will be very clear if they stay. And that's why I think Eric seek the help of the psychiatrist. He was trying to exorcise his demons, okay? The demon probably left, but he was left with, wow, with the contemplation, with the understanding of what he had done. And it has to be a horrible feeling, because then you know you did it, but you don't understand why you did it, because certainly there has to be someone push you to be so evil, so evil. And this story is very tied to Friday's episode. This is going to be demonic possession week in a way, or monsters week. And I laugh because let's not get too serious about everything, because on the case of Pietro Maso, which is not only the behavior of Pietro with the behavior of the Menendez brothers, which they are very, very similar things, the way Pietro and his friends killed his parents is very similar. It's actually worse than the Menendez brothers. At least they went quick. But in the case of Pietro Maso, they tortured his mother, his father, apparently for hours, because they wouldn't die, okay? It was not quick. It was not humane. I know there's a humane way to do it. It was certainly evil and dark and demonic, okay? I see both cases very, very similar. Let's watch a support video, which I think in only 5 minutes makes a very good effort to put some facts on the table. And then I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the short Monday episode about the Menendez brothers.
On August 18th, 1989, two brothers named Eric and Lyle Menendez walked into a Big 5 sporting goods store in San Diego and bought themselves two Mossberg 12-gauge shotguns. These were no ordinary kids. They were what you might call ultra-wealthy Beverly Hills boys. They lived in a stunning palatial mansion in the heart of the playground of the rich and famous. A day after they bought the guns, their parents, Jose and Kitty, chartered a yacht and took the boys shark fishing, which is apparently nothing out of the ordinary for a family swimming in money. What is unusual is the next day the boys entered a room where their father was watching television and unloaded the shotguns on their mother and father. Welcome to one of America's most confounding true crime stories. First of all, they did it. They admitted to it, and that's that. They fired the shots, made damn sure both were dead, and then went to a movie to watch Batman. We kid you not. This sounds like a simple open and shut case, but just hold on a second, because as you shall see, this bloody tale takes many turns. We're a long way from getting the Scooby-Doo rip the mask off criminal ending. Let's start by telling you how this family got so incredibly rich. We've seen the house, and it befits a queen, or someone just as important who also has a penchant for buying big places such as Evander Holyfield. That multi-million-dollar property was bought with hard-earned cash. Jose Enrique Menendez escaped the Cuban Revolution and arrived on the U.S. shores just at 16 years old. He studied hard and a few years later had an accounting degree. He later met Kitty, a teacher, but she gave that up while Jose was making a ton of cash as an entertainment executive. Their children went to the best schools and grew up with everything a child might need in terms of material goods. They might not have been shown much love, but we'll get around to that later. Eric had an acumen for tennis and at one point was ranked 44th best male player in the country under 18. His grades weren't too impressive though. Lyle got into Princeton, but he was also on the bottom rung of the academic ladder and even got suspended for plagiarizing work. So we have two rich kids, one a university dropout, and the other a tennis hopeful. At the time of the murders, Lyle was 21 and Eric was 18. With a bit of hard work, both of them were pretty much guaranteed to be set for life. That house was well worth over $10 million, and we expect that the father might have said, "One day, kids, this'll be all yours." There's a chance that if Eric hadn't decided to remove his parents' faces with a hail of bullets, he might have been challenging the likes of Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. Back to that fateful night. After killing their parents, they changed into some clean clothes, saw Batman, and then they dumped the guns. They returned home, and that's when they called the cops and pretended to be shocked. Lyle called 911 and tearfully he said, "Someone killed our parents." When the police arrived, Eric was rolling around on the lawn in the fetal position, howling in tears. How did it go down? The cops wondered. The investigation revealed that the murderers had just walked into the room where the father was watching TV and shot him in the back of the head. He died instantly and was almost decapitated. Kitty heard the shots and she entered the room, whereupon she was shot in the leg. She tried to run, but slipped on her own blood. While crawling helplessly on the floor, she was shot in the chest and arms. The coup de grace was a shot to her face, which left her unrecognizable. Both of them also had shots to the kneecaps. These execution-style murders looked to the cops like the work of organized crime, and for some reason the kids weren't suspects at the start. They didn't even go through gunshot residue tests to check if they'd used a gun. Seeing as they stood to inherit many millions, you would have thought they'd be prime suspects, but at first none of the evidence pointed to them doing it. Then, they did some reckless things. In the months after the murders, what we might call the mourning period, the two brothers were seemingly having the time of their lives. Lyle purchased a cafe because, hey, why not? He also got himself a very expensive Rolex and a Porsche Carrera. He wore one of the Rolexes to the funeral, and on the way there, in a limo, he talked about how he was going to the US Open. He was seen with his dearly departed father's secretary. She would later testify that Lyle had said, "Hey, Marcy, who said I couldn't fill my father's shoes?" That's because he was actually wearing his father's shoes. Marcy was not impressed and somewhat nonplussed about the icy statement. Eric got himself a new tennis coach. Both boys took trips and spent a fair bit of cash in London and the Caribbean. They bought condos in Marina del Rey and ate at some very expensive restaurants in LA, driving there at times in their deceased mother's Mercedes-Benz SL convertible. The cops, meanwhile, were looking at other entertainment executives that might have had a beef with Jose. He was, after all, well known for being crude and shrewd in business. They also looked into any mob connections, but no one really had any motive to kill Jose, and especially Kitty. If it was an assassination by an enemy, then Kitty was likely just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But who else might want to take both of them out, instead of just killing Jose and then escaping? Yeah, those kids were spending money like Mike Tyson after his first big paycheck. The cops were onto them, and so told one of Eric's friends to wear a wire and ask him if he did it. Eric said no, he didn't, but he did confess to his psychologists. That psychologist didn't breach doctor-patient confidentiality, but he did tell his mistress what Eric had told him. She then told the cops. At this point, the boys think that they're in the clear. Lyle's hired some bodyguards for when he goes shopping and spends thousands of dollars at a time. Both brothers have also just created a real estate and entertainment business called Menendez Investment Enterprises. The two were interviewed numerous times about their loss and what they wanted to do with the money. They saw fame and wealth ahead, and Eric even said they might get into politics. He said, "My brother wants to become president of the United States, and I want to be a senator and be with the people of Cuba." He even said he felt his father's ghost inside him, pushing him to do good in Cuba. People swallowed the story hook, line, and sinker, but the cops saw two rats. So the police have been told that the boys did it. They arrested Lyle since he was in California, and then Eric was arrested after he came home after playing a tennis tournament in Israel.
Okay, so I think I know about the video part, the graphic kind of cartoon type. Yes, it's a little bit sarcastic maybe. I'm sorry about that, but I think the story is explained very well and it's very factual. There are a few things that there are controversy about. I watched because I was trying to inform myself and refresh my memory on this case. Again, I heard about it around 1993, 94, especially with the movie A Killing in Beverly Hills, Menendez Brothers, which, by the way, you can find on YouTube. Just go and search for that, A Killing in Beverly Hills, and it's going to show up. It's more like a mini series of, I believe, 3 hours, part 1 and part 2. And so I was watching this short video about the factuality of the Netflix series, and they say that the Menendez brothers never went to the movies or to a restaurant, that they never left the house, which immediately didn't make sense, to be honest, because how did they dispose of the shotguns if they didn't leave the house? The shotguns would still be in the house and they would have been caught. So they had to leave, at least to dispose of the shotguns, which, by the way, I believe they have never been found. Something that they don't remember where they threw them or something like, or buried them or something like that. So again, I'm sharing this because you watch a video that claims to be fact-checking the Netflix series and the Netflix documentary and then makes a mistake like that. They had to leave the house, or the shotguns were still in the house. They are not going to fly away on their own. So I want to concentrate. I shared already. I'm going to say it 2-3 times. I'm not minimizing the abuse. Let's take away the alleged abuse. It's an abuse. Let's assume it's 100% like Lyle and Eric shared, okay? That the father abused them since they were young, that the mother was non-helpful, was an accomplice, let's call it like that. And the part that I don't agree is that they deserve to die. They deserve to pay for their crime. Certainly the father, possibly jail time. Well, let me share another way this could have gone. We're talking about a 21 and 18-year-old man or young adult. I totally understand if they reach that age, which, by the way, they were legal adults in the state of California. They were their parents couldn't decide for them anymore and say, hey, I'm going to leave the house. I'm going to sever relationship or sever ties with my parents, especially my father, or with both of them. And I'm actually gonna do file a police investigation, something. I'm missing the word. I'm gonna share with the police what happened, so whatever legal implications, or at least so everyone knows about the abuse. And probably with that, the father being the way he allegedly, or he was apparently, he will probably have severed. Of course, if you're going to do that to your father, he's not going to give you money to live, okay? So you will have to find a job and live in a way different, very different way you have lived for 18 and 21 years, okay? Why didn't happen? Why is the question, okay? That's totally understandable. To kill your parents, to blow your mother's face away, to then, if the story, the video we just watched is sharing it factually, if the father was killed instantly, then continue to put shells inside him, blow his kneecap, that's demonic, okay? I don't buy the mafia story. They became demonic. A demon possessed them, probably temporary, because I don't think the demon is there anymore. Same case as Pietro Masso, another. Please, if you enjoy this, or you are liking my angle of this story, please come back for Friday's episode. They are like a series of 1 and 2, okay? Season 1, season 2, or something like that. Because I'm gonna present how Pietro's actions were also the ones of a demon. The way he carried the plan to kill his parents, the pain, the way he also said the same thing. We don't want to make it look like a robbery. We want to make it look like someone hated my father, someone had a problem with my father or my parents, and that's why they tortured them, okay? That's demonic. One thing which is horrible on its own is to kill your parents so they don't suffer immediately or something like that. And I know apparently the father died immediately. I'm saying continue shooting at him after he's dead. That's demonic. That's a demon that goes into you. And the question is, if that's my angle, again, I'm sharing my opinion. I'm not saying it's facts. I'm not saying I can prove that. But if that's my angle of what happened, it's why they went demonic like that. And that's that key. Same as in the Pietro Masso case, they are symbiotic, they work together. Money, the love of money. Even the Bible says you can love money, you can love God, or you can love money, but you are not going to be able to love them both. And that's one of the beautiful passages of the Bible, because I think it shares a huge truth that money is an entity. Money is something to be very careful about, and it's something we cannot hate or sever ties in this reality, because we all need money some way, somehow. We all need money, okay? And the ones that say they don't need money or they hate money are someone that I heard a story about a lady, 20-something, that inherited 50 million euros in Austria, and she wants to get rid of the money. Well, get rid of all of it, and then be on the streets, hungry, cold, thirsty, and then you're going to say, hey, I want some of it back at least. She's obviously saying she's going to give away 45 million or something like that. She's going to live very comfortably with the other 5. I get that, okay? But we all need money. This reality is designed for the need of money, okay? So that tells you a lot who designed this reality, okay? If the Bible says you can love God or you can love money, but you're not going to be able to love them both, how possibly is the same people the architects of this reality? They're not, okay? They're not. Something more sinister. I'm trying to give you breadcrumbs here, okay? I'm not the type that I'm going to give you everything explained. You figure it out. You know what I'm talking about. Is this desperate love of money, of power, of need, of recognition, of need to have the 3 Rolexes, not 1, 3 Rolexes. That's something that the video got wrong. He didn't buy 1 Rolex, 3 Rolexes, a Porsche, $700,000 in 7 months. And also think $700,000 of 1989, which are at least double or triple now. So it's something like $1.5 million, $2 million of today's money in 7 months. Okay. They went crazy parties. That's the part I think the Netflix series got it right. Crazy parties with cocaine, probably with orgies and sex and all things that are aligned to this vibrational state of being demonic. The love of the material things for the love of the material things. Nothing wrong with having a Porsche. I share many times when I was young. Hey, 911s of the 1980s, they're beautiful. For me, one of the most beautiful cars in history, okay? That and the Lancia Delta, which, by the way, ironically, is related to Pietro Masso's case, that a friend buys a Lancia Delta Integrale. Beautiful cars. Beautiful cars. But to kill your parents to have the Porsche is the thing. To kill your parents to have the Lancia Delta is the thing. One thing is, I know about comforts. I know about material things. I know, maybe I haven't done it a lot, but I traveled for business one time in first class. I know it's nice. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying we should all be suffering, and no, that's the way religions want to paint it, that we have to live with nothing. No, this reality, we need money. It's just such a difficult energy, because if you go overboard, if you start loving it, it goes demonic on you, and it changes you. So I'm not saying everyone that is filthy rich, and sorry about the filthy, but you know the point I'm trying to make. The ones you see, CEOs of the ones that own huge companies, the Elon Musks, I'm not saying they're all demonic. I'm saying the relationship with money, especially if you have to do something to get it. Okay, in this case, in the same case of Pietro Masso, was the death of the parents. It's very apparent. I mean, I can understand the emotion that is going around right now that release the Menendez brothers. I can understand that, where it's coming from. But just see the behavior. They kill their parents. If they leave the house and they say, we don't want 1 cent of the father that abused me. We don't want 1 cent of the mother that was an accomplice to my father, that she watched for years. We don't want 1 cent. We'll work. We'll write a book. We'll make a movie on our own. We'll look for jobs. We'll go to college, to community college, to free college. I don't know. We'll ask for donations, something. But we don't want 1 cent of the abuser. They wanted every cent. And they were on the path, if they weren't stopped and caught in March 1990, they were straight on the path to spend all the money. Straight on the path. That's a demon. That fuel, that darkening of your heart, that you will do anything to get the money, that's the love of money. And that's demonic love of money. That's different of having a job and getting paid. Totally different. But if you get a job and you have to kill people to get paid a lot of money, then money is going demonic on you, okay? And so my final thoughts here, I'm not minimizing the abuse. I'm not saying it has nothing to do with it. That probably set them on the path to go into darkness, into low vibration, into a demonic state. But they went demonic the night of the murders, and they, with all the evil in the world, with a darkened heart, they were inhuman. They were unrecognizable. They were demons that night, and that's why they killed their parents the way they did. It was not the anger. It was not the rage. It was the demonic love of money. And that's why they were so fine days after, buying their Porsches, buying their Rolexes, having their parties, because they were in that state they wanted to be. And they didn't care at all what they had to do, what they had to offer to a demon to get it. And that's my final thoughts here on the Menendez brothers. Please, if you're interested, come back. I have a different view on Pietro Masso. Pietro Masso has changed. One final point on the Menendez brothers. They have been in jail for 20-something years. If they are released or not, honestly, it's not, for me, it's beyond the point. Okay, that's not the point. The point is they have to come clean in themselves. They know if the abuse happened or not. They know if this was the love or money or not. Okay, I'm sharing my point of view here. I'm sharing what I think happened, and even admitting that possibly or the abuse happened. But they know in their hearts the intentions of the father. They know if it happened the way they are sharing it. They know about the mother, if she was truly an accomplice or a victim, or she was just someone that was not, yes, possibly an absent mother that didn't, but you know, they know. And the thing is, they don't have to share it with us. They don't have to share it to the world. That's, for me, is not the point. They have to share it, or they have to admit it to themselves. So the first step is, if they really did it for the money, if they did it for the love of money, Pietro Masso has come clean. And he has said, I killed my parents because I wanted the money, because I loved the money, because I loved living like that. That's the first step to redemption, okay? And this is not a religious statement, okay? That's the first step. You have to recognize what you have done, and you have to mature it, and you have to self-forgive yourself, and you have to set yourself in a path that is going to take you away from that forever, okay? Assuming my craziness or my, thing that we go on forever and their past lives and future lives. The way the Menendez brothers clear this is they have to admit what they have done. And actually I think it's just a disservice to their parents if they are inventing the abuse story. It has nothing to do with what they have done. What they have done is a different thing with abuse. It doesn't justify. It's not a summation system, okay? I was abused, so in a very evil way, I killed my parents, I tortured my parents. No, they have to mature that. And right now, what I see with my own eyes is they're trying to play the victims, okay? They're trying to get public support for their release because they're tired of prison, which is very understandable, by the way, very understandable. Pietro Masso was incarcerated for 22 years, okay? They have been incarcerated for more. That's why I share it. They get released is beyond the point. It's their own path, their own souls they have to think about. And the first step is accepting I did this. Not like in the trial, but sharing their intentions in their hearts. I did this for the money. I did this because I was going crazy for the money, because I was going demonic for the love of money. And that's the first step to their own redemption. I hope it makes sense. And again, as always, I'm very cryptic. So I like to share little pieces and you make up the puzzle of what I'm trying to say. If everything is okay, I shall see you back on Friday. Have a great week. I'll be here on Friday if everything's okay. Take care. Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover your true self. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and to serve others. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover your true self? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to the universe. Simply ask, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? You will start getting signs, breakthroughs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about this reality start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering your true self equals to real freedom. Your self-imposed limits will fall and you will be ready to understand this reality, but you must be patient to allow others to wake up at their time through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will set up a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, lust, envy, violence, justice through violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions serve only your egoic mind and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It is very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you would like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@thealexshow.tv. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website www.thealexshow.tv. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very nice day.